Hi friends, welcome. On this channel we talk about things. On this video we're going to be talking about some specific things. So if you're interested in those specific things, come along. I should be more descriptive. Today we're going to be talking about a comment that I received on my Skillshare class from somebody named Nina. She is a beginner street photographer and she left a comment with some questions touching on some struggles that she's had. And I want to answer some of those questions here. I did answer below her question on the actual class, but I thought it would also make a good video and be a nice crossover from YouTube to Skillshare and Skillshare to YouTube. So I'm going to read through her comment and share some thoughts. Come along! Again, Nina writes, the first thing I struggle a big time is editing. I'm going to assume you meant with there. What programs should I use? How far can I go with editing? I guess as far as you want, right? Because editing is art itself. Editing can be a difficult process. I've had a lot of experience editing both videos and photos. With videos, you're making sure that not only a frame is taken care of, but various clips strung together, oftentimes with the goal of those clips looking somewhat similar to one another occurring. Editing can be this weird floaty process of trying to get to something that you envision in your mind, maybe vaguely, maybe clearly, and you're pushing buttons trying to get there. And it can be difficult to actually get all the way to what you're trying to accomplish. Like I've had many photos where my vision and where it ended up is different, but ultimately I go, okay, this is a good vision too, I'll stick with this, right? But it's a little off from what you were maybe trying to get at. So you can get lost in this sea of adjustments and not know how to fix every problem. I think skin tones are a great example of this. It can be really difficult to get the skin tones to do exactly what you need them to do. And you could go learn about a more structured process for editing, and that's certainly a path. Or you could choose a more spontaneous push buttons, break things, and figure out how to make stuff work, which tends to be the way I go about things. And that's another path, and I don't think either one is problematic. You just have to understand where they're going to take you and the strengths and weaknesses of those approaches. Or let me rephrase that. It's not that there is a fundamentally better or worse approach to editing. It's that there are different approaches with different strengths and weaknesses. So sometimes if you can't get the skin tones to not be green, you can sit and fiddle and figure out how to solve that problem. And there's a certain learning that comes from that. But perhaps you might also want to just go on, Skillshare or on YouTube and figure out how to fix green skin tones. And that can save you some time. Somebody else has gone down that road before. I'm the person who has to remind myself that gaining wisdom from other people and their learning process is something that can save me a lot of time and effort and can be extremely helpful and can allow me to accomplish my goal quicker. And it can be a really cool thing where you have the community operating together to help each other grow. And also in that approach, there is, I think, a very useful lesson there, and that is that there are other people who are smarter than you in certain areas. And I mean, we're getting outside the bounds of editing at this point, right? In any discipline in life, there are people who have thought smarter thoughts than you because of their experience, because of their time thinking about those thoughts and developing their philosophy. And it can be helpful to utilize those people to inform yourself and come to a conclusion that you may not have come to on your own. So what photo editing app should one use? And we're going to assume we're only in the realm of digital photography for this discussion. You could go for an industry standard like Lightroom, this big, robust, powerful platform. Or you could choose any number of other fantastic editing apps. In my response, I mentioned some other options which are great and not too pricey, such as Darkroom. I've used Darkroom a lot. It's fantastic. I actually made a video about that one a while back. Cross-platform. It's a great app, consistent across platforms. I think it's hilarious that it's called Darkroom. Dimroom. Very... I'm just kidding. Visco, another one, very popular. Very... simple, and I just came across this the other day as I was playing for this video. They have a web app now, so that's fun. They call it a desktop app, but I haven't actually found a desktop download, so when I see an app on the web, I would consider that a web app, not a desktop app, but lies! Polar Pro. Admittedly, I don't actually have experience with this app, but it looks very solid. It's a very popular app. I did come across another one, which is probably lesser known, which is called Camera Bag Pro. That one's pretty great. It has this sort of like, I guess you would call it like a node sequence based editing system, so you can layer things. It's pretty cool. One of the things that I have needed from a quick editing app is something that I can just import a photo into. It doesn't fall into this greater library and, you know, all the organization that comes with that. It's just, you just import a photo, edit the photo, export a photo. And that's one of the things that I've struggled with Lightroom. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but for me, having that separation between Lightroom, which is like, this is where my catalog of thousands and thousands of photos are, versus here's an iPhone photo I took that I want to edit. I find that separation to be helpful. But there are a ton of fantastic apps out there. You do not need Lightroom. It's a very even playing field of photo editing apps. But she also said, how far can you go with editing? I guess as far as you want, right? Because editing is art itself. And yes, you can go as far as you want. You can use it as a playground to have fun. It's not that when you're editing that there is a right way, or that you have to pursue a certain look, that you have to follow other people and how you edit. You don't have to start there. You may have a specific goal that you're trying to go after, where you might need to operate in that way to some degree, but you don't have to start there. But a healthy approach to deal with a lot of the issues that can come up with editing is to keep your eye on the goal. And when you get stuck, think about, how can I take the next step? Do I need to fiddle some more? See if I can get there through pushing this slider over here. What will that do? Or do I need to go watch some videos, learn how to do this thing in a better way that I don't understand how to do yet? But just like shooting, enjoy the process and be patient. Recognize that these things take time. You're not supposed to know all of this stuff immediately. So with the idea of it being art, I think it's helpful to think about, what are your personal goals that you're trying to accomplish artistically with your photos? And if this goal means that this is going out to people, you're sharing it, and it's meant to have a certain effect, well, you want to consider that. What effect are these edits actually going to have on how this feels to people? I think taking pictures and editing them are two different parts of the art, no? My thoughts on this are, yes, it's two different parts of the art, but it's like a sub-art form within the greater art form, and I think that's how many things in life operate. So you might find that you're really good at one aspect of photography, but you're not so good at another aspect, and so you have to bring up your weakness over here. And there's probably many of those things, all at different levels. Is it okay that 98% of the pictures I take are horrendous? I just bought my camera a month ago. Yes, it's okay, and it's very normal. And that's part of the process. Aim at your goal, focus on growing, and enjoy the process. Still figuring out ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Harder than I thought, but I can't put the camera down, just addicted. And that's important. The addiction is what's going to help you understand those things. It's repetition. Everything is repetition. And the more you're repeating the process, the little steps, the more they bake into you. So for example, if you're trying to shoot a manual and you're trying to understand the exposure triangle, I would recommend going out, setting your ISO, then setting your aperture, and then writing your shutter speed. And then as you're shooting, you can slowly manipulate each one individually and see the differences that it makes on your photos. But obsession is good. It is a superpower. If you have the obsession, use it. And if you don't have the obsession, maybe watch some videos or something to gain your obsession. I guess the most important thing is to learn you can use these three at the same time, creatively. But how? With practice? Yes, exactly. It's the reps, but also it's the mindset. If you can allow yourself to be creative as you're going about these reps, not getting frustrated about missing photos and things like that, taking it easy, then you will be able to grow not only technically but creatively. Okay, I have to wrap this video quick. I have a meeting in 1 minute. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Nina, for that question with all of the, or the comment with all those lovely and hopefully very helpful to you guys questions, and hopefully my answers are also helpful along with that. If you want to ask your own question, you can do so in the comments below, or you can go join my Skillshare class, which has 400 students. What? So grateful. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Links below. Get 1 month of Skillshare for free. My meeting is starting now. Goodbye.